Hello everybody, I hope you're keeping well and staying safe. I thought I'd carry on reading our story, Poppet by Dick King Smith. Can you remember what's happened so far in our story? That's right. Poppet was born and he wasn't really sure what animal he was. And his mum told him that he needed to be really careful about a particular animal that was dangerous to elephants. Can you remember what that animal was? That's right, it was a mouse. Well, do you remember Poppet found an animal on the tree, a type of animal, a mini beast, and we were going to find out what happened next. So, in the days and weeks that followed, Poppet asked quite a number of small creatures whether they were mice. Here's some of the creatures he asked. Are they mice? No, they're not. He asked beetles and grubs and worms and caterpillars and little lizards and small frogs, and some replied jokily and some replied angrily and some didn't answer at all. Till at last Poppet rather forgot about his mother's dire warning and gave himself up to enjoying the carefree life of a baby elephant. He used his trunk for reaching up and pulling down leaves and twigs, and for sucking up water when the herd went to the river to drink, and then blowing water all over himself. He looks a bit like a submarine here, doesn't he? When he was nice and wet, he would go to a dusty place and use his trunk to give himself a dust bath, so that he finished up all beautifully muddy. Then he'd go back into the river and have a lovely bathe, going right under the water, with just the tip of his trunk sticking up above the surface, like a snorkel. A trunk, Poppet decided, was a brilliant thing to have. As for mice, he never thought about them any more. Then one hot afternoon, when he was about a month old, how many weeks is that, a month? See if you can find out for me. So when he was a month old and his mother and all his aunties were standing resting in the shade, Poppet wandered a little way off exploring. He was using his trunk to search about in the grass as he went along, when suddenly he saw in front of him an animal that he had not previously met. It was furry and brown, with large tulip-shaped ears. Can you guess what it was? That's right, it was a mouse. Can you imagine how you might think if you'd never seen a mouse before? Wonder if you knew what it would be. Beady black eyes had this animal and a longish hairless tail, and Poppet stretched out its trunk towards it and sniffed at it. Even when the tip of his trunk was right before the creature's face, it didn't occur to him that this animal was small, and, without much hope, because he'd been wrong so many times, he said, "Are you a mouse?" "As a matter of fact," said the animal, "I am. And you know what mice do to elephants, don't you?" Hastily, Poppet raised his trunk. "Aha," said the mouse, "your mum told you, did she?" "Told me what?" "That mice run up inside elephants' trunks." "Well, yes," said Poppet, "she did." "And you believed her?" "Yes." The mouse let out a loud squeak of laughter and a loud squeak of anger, and it frightened poor Poppet. "What are you called, boy?" it said. "Poppet. What about you?" "My name," said the mouse, "is Mormo, and I am very glad to meet you." "Oh," said Poppet. "Why?" "Because," said Mormo, "when I was very young my mother told me this story about mice and elephants, and I didn't believe her. That's rubbish, I thought. One day I said to myself, I'll meet an elephant and find out if it's true. And now I've met one." "But you're not going to find out," said Poppet, and he curled his trunk even higher. "Oh, come on," said Mormo. "Be a sport. Just let me have a look up at it." "No, no, no," cried Poppet. "You'll crawl in." "I won't, honest." I promise. Cross my heart. So very slowly Poppet uncurled his trunk and lowered the tip of it towards the waiting mouse. The nearer it got to Momo, the more nervous Poppet became. I must be mad, he thought. Believing a mouse promise? Mice probably don't know the meaning of the word. Then suddenly he felt the tickle of whiskers at the very top of his trunk as Momo peered into it, and he gave an enormous shoo sneeze. Elephants, like people, shut their eyes when they sneeze, and when Poppet opened his again, it was to see that the mouse had been blown head over heels by the force of the blast. There he is. Steady on, cried Momo. What are you playing at? Sorry, said Poppet. I sneezed. Oh, well, bless you. Thanks, it was your whiskers, they tickled. Just testing. A mouse can go into any hole that's wider than its whiskers. And was it? It would have been a very tight fit, said Momo. Might be possible with a full-grown elephant, but I shouldn't have cared to try it with you. Anyway, to be quite frank, it looked pretty damp and uninviting up there, even before the sneeze. As it is, I'm soaked. Can you see how wet he is? I can't imagine it would be very nice up the elephant's trunk. I'll dry you, said Poppet, and he pointed his trunk at the mouse and blew long, slow, hot breaths over him. It was while he was doing this that he suddenly heard his mother's voice, and a very angry voice it was. Uma, Mum, had walked up behind him quite silently, as elephants do on their great cushioned feet, only to see her son with his trunk outstretched, the tip of it only centimetres from a mouse. She let out a furious trumpet, and Momo vanished from sight. What did I tell you? She screamed. Keep away from mice, do you hear me? Get out of my way now, and I'll squash this mouse flat. Oh, don't, Mum, cried Poppet. He's my friend. Your friend? Snorted Uma. You're not just a bad child, you're a mad child. And she went stamping about in the grass till she'd flattened a big patch of it. That should have fixed the horrible creature, she said, and she moved away to rejoin the herd, grumbling to herself. Wonder if you know what the word herd means. Poppet stood sadly beside the trampled patch. Alas, poor mouse, he said, it's all my fault that he's dead. No, he isn't, said a voice, and out of the grass poked a little head with whiskers twitching. Momo, cried Poppet, you're not hurt. Got a bit of a headache, said Momo. I think I'd have a bit of a headache if an elephant tried to stample on me. Stample or trample? I think trample. How on earth did you survive? Under earth went down a hole sharpish, said the mouse, but not before I heard what you said, which was very nice of you, Poppet. You are my friend too. Well, we've still got a little bit more of the story to finish, and I'll finish this over the week with you. I wonder if you've had a chance to talk to your friends this week. I've really enjoyed looking at all of our class Padlets and seeing all of the amazing things that you've been doing at home. Keep up the great work. We'll finish the story later this week and hope to see you all very soon. Bye.